Hi, I'm Dr. Dhanvanti Rajwade, and you are watching Anatomy of Bias.
This particular case is about a young boy who was diagnosed with cancer and was referred for preserving his semen or his sperm. And the reason why we do this is because when one undergoes cancer treatment, there can be permanent, irreversible damage to the sperms and the eggs, and it basically takes away this person's chance of having a baby later on. So we are now blessed with technology which can take care of it. But of course, we have this huge social aspect to it as well. This particular boy was 15 years old. He was accompanied by his father. They came from this small town in from northern India, and he had this osteosarcoma, which is a cancer of the bone, and he was to undergo surgery and followed by chemotherapy in the next 2-3 days. So typically, what we do in these cases, we have a very long counseling session explaining the whole process, the pros, the cons, what can really go wrong, and all of that. And this boy was, of course, a minor, so the father had to be involved in the decision making, and he was then finally the one who would give the consent for the process. So once we receive the consent, then we explain to the boy how to do, how to really do this. And to bring this out, there are basically two problems that arise with any kind of semen cryopreservation. First is the collection. The collection is through masturbation. And when these cancer patients are young, like this 15, 16-year-old, it's not easy for them to discuss it openly with a doctor, and especially in front of their parents. So everyone's doing it at that age, but they're not talking about it. So that's a really difficult part. And then the second part is a medical part to it, as in when they're that young, their reproductive tracts are also a little immature. So the kind of sperm quality that we get is sometimes very suboptimal to freeze. So all of this is explained to the patient and the parent before we go through this. And now this boy was someone who was in pain because he had a swollen knee, and now it's no fun doing this, right? As in, you have to seek pleasure in that pain. So this boy was sent to the room where he has to collect the sample, came out multiple times with disappointment that he's not being able to collect it. And each time that he came out, the father sort of motivated him to go back in there and collect it, because obviously he's not getting it. Why? He's an adult, and probably you tend to forget when you're a child how these things can be difficult to do. And after multiple tries, finally, when he was able to give us a sample, it it was not a sample which was conducive to freezing. So it was of suboptimal quality, which is not uncommon in this age group. And we had to then go through a massive counseling session with the parents. What came out of that conversation was something very intriguing. So, as a doctor and as a mother, you think about, how am I going to save my child? Right? Or you think, we are trained as doctors to save lives. So that's the only thing we see. This is what we need to do. We are tuned, save the life, and that's about it. Yes. So automatically our counseling goes in that direction. Go finish off with the surgery, and because that's important, and let's get over with this. But the conversation kept drifting back with the father into, but how can we improve the sperm quality? So, unfortunately, there's no magic pill for improving sperm quality. There are ways and means of doing it, but they are time consuming, because the sperm is produced in cycles of, say, 90 days or so, which means you've got to wait it out then. Plus, you're looking at a 15-year-old. We don't even know that 90 days is going to work. So we spent a lot of time speaking to him, but it just kept dragging back into, how do we make this sperm work out? So the thing to what was tricky is trying to explain to this father that he may lose this child in waiting, as opposed to just getting his treatment over with, and then you think about his fertility at some later date. Who knows, technology may change in 20 years time when he's ready to have a child.
So there's obviously a lot of pressure riding on that boy, who at this point of time was just in a lot of pain because of the fundamental disease he was suffering from. So at that point, did you intervene, or how did you handle the
So,
entire situation?
of course, a lot of talking with the boy, but when a 15-year-old is so dominated by his father, and he's obviously just following instructions.
Absolutely. It's subliminal conditioning that all that they have to do is have that male child and keep
Exactly,
passing on the
exactly. But
family
to
name.
not consider that boy's emotion is very hard, especially when not only there are most doctors will also be parents in some form, and you kind of project what would you have done in this case. So it's hard to dissociate yourself from being a doctor and being not as a human being in the same position. But we have to understand that they come from a different background. They do have a different lens to look at it, and all we can do is guide them. Spend a lot of time speaking, which I feel sometimes gets left out. Make sure that you have done your bit, and after you have done your bit, also there will be a line that you will not be able to cross, because society comes in that there, and that's about it. You just can't cross that line.